Hey everybody, Emma here, also known as 8vinyllow, bringing all of you another video. Today's video is going to be kind of just a general vinyl update, vinyl finds video. Most of these records are gifts that were sent to me by the youngest members of the VC, Marikan, Jenna, and Dylan. We finally got around to, like a month later, our Christmas Zoom. We usually send albums to each other and then we'll open them on Zoom, just kind of us, and then we'll share what we ended up getting in a YouTube video. Well, life obviously was very, very busy with the holidays and the start of the new year, so we didn't really have an opportunity to exchange those gifts and do that Zoom until very recently. So I do want to showcase what they generously sent my way and some new additions to the collection. And I also have about 3 records that I've picked up from some shows and events that I've been to that I want to share with all of you as well. So we're going to kick off, we're going to go back to December, and back in December, in Chicago and Highland Park, Illinois, I ended up seeing Robin Taylor Xander. Now, Robin Taylor Xander is the son of course, Cheap Trick's Robin Xander, and has also been touring with Cheap Trick over the last handful of years. Well, he recently, and I've talked about it on the channel, he very recently last year released his first solo debut album called The Distance, and it is through a record label called Confidential Records that is owned by the legendary producer Jack Douglas. Jack Douglas, Cheap Trick, he produced my favorite album of all time. He produced Cheap Trick's 1977 debut, a couple other Cheap Trick releases, of course did a lot with Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic being the first one that came to mind, and of course worked with John Lennon, Double Fantasy, and kind of that story also being something that comes to mind when you think about Jack Douglas. Well, so he released this, Robin Taylor Xander released his solo debut album. Fantastic record. I highly recommend it. I'm going to link it down below, his store, if you're interested in buying it. It is released on vinyl, so definitely pick it up. But he ended up doing an event, kind of an acoustic show at the G-Man Tavern in downtown Chicago. And what was really cool about it, and what really, obviously, I love Robin, and I love Cheap Trick and anything connected there, and he has a great album, great musician in his own right. But the big draw for me was that there was going to be a Q&A session with Jack Douglas. So I thought that would be an amazing opportunity. I mean, how many chances do you get to go see Jack Douglas in person and perhaps even meet him? So I ended up going to that event and saw Robin's acoustic show, which was great. It was opened up with a Q&A session with Jack and Scott Lucas from Local H. So just an amazing night. The back room only housed about 50 people, so it was very, very intimate. Just a really cool experience overall. So I ended up talking to Robin Taylor after the show a little bit, just congratulating him on his album release and just telling him how much I really do love the album. And then I also had an opportunity to talk to Scott Lucas and then Jack Douglas. So I was able to chat it up with Jack a little bit. The next day, they had an in-store performance / record signing. So Robin Taylor Xander and Jack Douglas were scheduled to be at Loud Pizza Records in Highland Park, Illinois. That was the first time I had ever been to that store. Very cool store. But Robin Taylor did an acoustic set, and then they did a signing, and then RTZ did the acoustic set. So the only downside is they didn't let you bring in albums from the outside. So you had to pre-order records, and there were only a select amount of records that you could pick from. And so that was frustrating, because if I could have had it my way, I would have gotten signed by Jack Douglas, Cheap Trick's debut, obviously 77, one of my favorites, produced by him. Actually, not one of my favorites, my favorite record of all time. I would have loved to get Toys in the Attic. If I had to choose one Aerosmith, there's a couple others that would have been cool too. And then, of course, Double Fantasy. Well, the Double Fantasy, the copies they had, completely sold out. Toys in the Attic, completely sold out. However, I did get lucky, and this was a highlight for me. I did get lucky with ordering Cheap Trick's debut. So this is a reissue, and this is probably like my 5th copy of this album that I have. I also have one signed by Rick Nielsen over here. But what's really cool about this one is that it is signed by the producer, the man himself, Mr. Jack Douglas. So I asked if he could make it out to me, and he most graciously did. Really, really sweet, kind individual, has so many great stories. So if he's ever in your neck of the woods for an event or whatever else, please take some time to go over there and just talk to him, thank him, that sort of thing. He is awesome. But not only that, I was also able to get Robin Taylor Xander's album signed by him and also Jack Douglas. So that was very cool as well to add to the collection. I had already bought a copy when it came out of the album, so this is my 2nd copy, but now I have a player copy, and then I have this signed copy that I will probably get framed and hang up somewhere in the music room. So that's that story. Then, very recently, and I showed this in my vinyl tag video, but very recently I was able to go down to Legends, Buddy Guy's Legends Blues Club in Chicago, Illinois, and I was able to catch a show during his January residency with VC member Jeff Kempen and his wife Cor. We had so much fun that night, so shout out to them if they are watching. But it was an absolute blast, you know, and we were talking about it after the show. You know, Buddy, he's retiring from touring. He's had some health issues over the last couple of years. He's 87 years old. He is like one of the last living greats. And we had seen him a couple of years ago during his residency at his club. That was the first time that I had ever seen him, and I was blown away. But going into this show a couple of weeks ago, I knew that's probably going to be the last time that I see him. So I hope not. But if it is, I have no regrets, no complaints. He put on an amazing show. It was a little shorter than last time. You can tell that the age and playing is catching up with him. But damn right, he has still got the blues. So saw him and finally added this record to the collection, his newest release, The Blues Don't Lie. Lots of different players kind of on here featuring Elvis Costello plays on here, James Taylor, Bobby Rush, Jason Isbell, and so on. So just a great release by Buddy overall, but obviously the highlight of the night for me was getting to meet Buddy, just kind of thank him for everything, for his music, just thank him for his time with meeting fans, and of course signing this album. All right, now we're going to transition over to the VCLT gifts from the youngest members of the VC. I'm going to start with Dylan over at the Record Spinner and share the 3 albums that he graciously and very kindly sent my way. And of course, if we're talking about Dylan, there's going to be no surprise here. He ended up sending me Kiss's debut album. I recently saw Kiss for the first time and the last time. And I have to say, you know, I'd never been this huge Kiss fan. Obviously, Dylan is the Kiss whiz. And I really started to get into Kiss and listen to Kiss more because of Dylan. I decided, hey, I'm gonna go see them. They were playing in St. Louis. I went to that show. That was a blast. Met up with Billy Hurst and Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame, and a couple of other people. Had so much fun doing that. But saw the show, and I really enjoyed it. Let's just put it that way. So I'm in with Kiss. I'm not, you know, I'm obviously not on Dylan's level, never will be. I wouldn't consider myself Kiss Army or anything like that. But I do enjoy Kiss. And this album, I would have to say, is my favorite album. I would choose this over Love Gun. I just kind of like the feel to this one more. This is like a greatest hits album. It has so many great songs on here. It has Strutter. It has Nothing to Lose, Firehouse. I know I'm just preaching to the choir, all you Kiss fans out there. Kissin' Time, Deuce, which even from when I was a teenager and a kid, I absolutely love that song, so I would probably say that's my favorite Kiss song. But yeah, so you can't go wrong with Kiss's debut. Finally put this in my hands. 180 gram audiophile vinyl reissue of this album. I'm sure Dylan knows. I'm sure this is going to sound amazing. He knows his pressings. He also sent me, he'd been talking up this album a lot over the last year or so. This is like his album that described as 2023 and so on. He's just really related to this album. So I was very excited when I saw this in the stack of records that he sent, and that is Chris Bell's I Am the Cosmos. Now, as you can tell, I haven't even opened this yet. That's how recent this Zoom call has been, and how little time I've had to listen to records recently. But Chris Bell, I Am the Cosmos. I am so excited to dig into this record. As I mentioned, Dylan has just been talking this up over the last year or so. So can't wait for that. And then a nice little surprise on my end, when we were on the Zoom, he was like, I can't believe that you didn't have a version, this particular copy of this album. And I do have some white label promos from this band, of course. I will collect anything by this band, but I didn't have this one yet. And that is a white label promo copy of Cheap Trick's Heaven Tonight. So Dylan, if you're watching, thank you so much again. The next couple of records are from Jenna over at Spins and Needles, and they came at the best time because it has been freezing and icy and gross here in Illinois, as is the case with Illinois in January. But it's been very, very cold, and so these records will definitely heat the house up once they're put on the turntable. Must have for the collection. Finally have it. She sent me Otis Rush, Cold Day in Hell. Must have. And another must have, she also sent me Taj Mahal. And I got the notes there. Another must have album for any blues collection. So again, Jenna, perfect timing. Thank you so much. Definitely will heat this house up a little bit, especially the music room. But if you're watching, thank you so much for adding these to the collection. The last stack of records are from Marican over at Marican's Music and her husband, Jared. The first couple of records are albums that she has talked up so much the last few years, and so I've always just kind of been pushing it off, and then I forget, and then I mean to listen to them, and then I forget. Well, I'm not forgetting anymore because she put it in my hand. The first one is Maya Hawk Blush. This is the Urban Outfitters exclusive translucent light blue vinyl, and it even had a little wrapping paper still on there. But I am excited to check this album out. I believe this is an album that either she picked up in New Orleans with Dylan and they both grabbed this, or she basically persuaded and enabled Dylan to pick this up when we stopped at Urban Outfitters down there, or not in New Orleans, in Nashville, I think. It's all blurry now. But anyway, all that aside, she's talked up this album. I've heard a lot of great things about Maya Hawk, so I'm excited to listen to this. This is another album that has been huge in the VC over the last couple of years that I had kind of sampled through streaming, but now I'm excited to really take it in on vinyl, and that is, of course, Arlo Parks' Collapsed in Sunbeams, a critically acclaimed debut album, limited edition lemonade vinyl. This was also an Urban Outfitters exclusive that she sent me. So again, streamed this before, really solid release by Arlo Parks, and I'm excited now to take this in, sit back, listen to it on my setup, and really get the full experience of this album. The last record that she sent my way that I'm blown away and just kind of at a loss for words about is an artist that, of course, she loves. She's the Queen of Queen. And out of everybody in Queen, I mean, obviously Freddie, okay, but I'm a huge Roger Taylor fan in terms of his voice. And so she has sent me a handful of Roger Taylor albums, solo albums that I've loved. And I didn't think I would ever get this particular one, but she sent it to me. This is Roger Taylor's Happiness. I love this man's voice so much. This is the numbered limited edition version. Very, very difficult copy to come by, an album to come by. But she was telling me on the Zoom, the biggest draw to picking this up for me was that, so it's limited edition numbered, I have 1440, and she said that she is my number mate. So I think that she has copy 1439. So she said when she saw that and realized that, she had to pick this up for me. So again, I am lost for words. 1994 release by Roger Taylor, the limited edition version, just unbelievable. So thank you so much, Marikan and Jared, for adding this to the collection. And then she threw in some Cheap Trick. She ended up getting me a promo of Everything Works If You Let It, 45 single, epic label, and a really, really cool coaster, Cheap Trick, Bang Zoom Crazy Hello, an album from 2016. So Marikan and Jared, if you are watching, thank you so much. That's it for this video, everybody. I hope that all of you are doing well, and I will see you all for my next video. Bye, guys.